Good afternoon, Year 5, and welcome to our final maths lesson of the week. So, just the same as always, get your exercise book open, maths at the top of your page. Today's LO, which is to multiply a 2-digit number by a 3-digit number, as well as today's date, which is Friday, the 15th of January. Okay, then Year 5, let's just have a look at this quickly. So, we've got, these are 143 packs are for the local supermarket. Okay, and we can see at the bottom here that each pack has 12 boxes in. So I want you to have a little think and think about how could you work out how many boxes there were altogether. So we know there are 143 packs and we know there are 12 in each pack. How can we work out altogether? Okay, of course our answer is 143 times by 12. Work out how many boxes we've got in total. So one way we could tackle this is just like normal, using an area model, and we could partition or break down our numbers to make it easier for us. So we can start with 143. We could break this down into 100, 40, and 3. And then, of course, with 12, we know how to do this. 10 and 2, nice and easy. And then, just like normal with an area model, we can multiply our numbers together. So 100 times by 10 is 1,000. And then we've got 40 times by 10, 400. 3 times by 10, 30. 100 times by 2, 200. 2 times 40, well, we know 2 times 4 is 8, 80. And then 2 times by 3 we know is 6. And then, of course, just like normal, we need to add them all together. So you can either do that in your head, or if you're struggling with that, that's absolutely fine. We can use our column addition method. So start again with our units, but the 6 is already there for you. And then we've got our tens column, so we've got 8 and 3. We know is, sorry about that, we know it is 11. So we put our 1 in the hundreds, 10 in the tens, and then we've got 400 and 200, we know is 600, but there's 1 at the bottom there, so that's 700, and then finally 1,000 in our thousands column. And that's our final answer, 1,716. That's how many boxes there are altogether. Now, another way we can do this is a very similar method to what we looked at yesterday, and that was our long multiplication method. Okay, so again, we need to partition our numbers just like we did last time with our area model, but we're just going to show them at the top. So we've got 100 times by 10, 40 times by 10, 3 times by 10, and then we have 100 times by 2, 40 times by 2, 3 times by 2, and we are going to calculate them in our column method. So 100 times by 10, we should know, is 1,000. 40 times by 10, 4 times 1 is 4, add the 2 zeros, 400. 3 times by 10, 30. And then we've got 100 times by 2, 200. 40 times by 2, double 40, 80. 3 times by 2, 6. And then again, add them all together. So 6. We've got 8 and 3 is 11, or 80 and 30 is 110, so 110s, 10 and 10 column. Then 400 and 200, we know 600, add the bottom one, 700, and then 1 in 1,000. So we get exactly the same answer, 1,716. Now, you might be looking at this and you think, well, that took ages to do. We've got to work out all these partitioning, we've got 6 different calculations to work out, then we've got to add them all together. It's a very long way of doing things. So what we could do instead is still use this long multiplication method. However, we're going to partition the numbers a little bit smaller, okay? So we're going to keep 143, okay, and we're not going to change it, and we're going to times it by 10, and we're going to times it by 2. We're going to partition just the 12 to break down the 12 into 10 and into 2. Now, you might be looking at this thing, oh, well, I don't know my 143 times tables, I can't do this. Well, we know our tens, so we can do 143 times 10. We know it's 1,430, that's easy. And then 143 times 2, all we're doing is doubling. So double your hundreds, double your tens, double your units. 286 should be our answer, because we've doubled each unit, and there it is. And then, again, just like we do in our normal long multiplication, we're going to add them all together. So our units column, 0 add 6, 6. 3 add 8, we know is 11. So we've got 1 in our hundreds, 1 in our tens. 400, 200, 600, add the 1 at the bottom, that's 700, and then our thousands, and we get exactly the same answer again. So today, this is what we're going to be focusing on, okay? We're going to be focusing on doing our 3 digits, timesing by our 2 digits, but instead of doing our long-winded way of doing it and doing 6 calculations each time, let's try and break it down into something a little bit more simple, so there's less to do and we can complete it a lot quicker. So, Mega Flakes also makes larger packs that each contain 16 boxes of cereal. A supermarket buys 217 of these packs. how many boxes of cereal does the supermarket buy in total? So again, there's 16 boxes in each pack, and the supermarket buys 217 of them. What calculation do we need to work out how many boxes there are altogether? Of course, we do 217 multiplied by 16. So for this one, you might want to think, okay, let's do it a bit simpler. So 217, we'll keep that, and we'll partition the 16. We'll break it down into 10 and into 6. But I don't know if I can do 217 times by 6, okay? So don't worry about that. Let's partition it a little differently. So we can do it times by 10, okay? And then we've still got that 6 left, but we can break that 6 down to make it even easier. We could do 217 times by 5 and 217 times by 1. Okay, so we've broken down the 16 into 3 different numbers instead of 2 different numbers to make it easier for us. It does not matter how you do this year 5, okay? You can break it down into 3 numbers. You can break down the 217 into different numbers if that helps you, okay? We're just looking here to try and think of the easiest way of doing it, okay? So we're breaking it down to 10, 5, and 1. They're easy numbers to work out. I'm doing it quite quickly. We don't want to try and have like 6 different calculations to work out because it will take us far too long. So we've partitioned our 16 into our 3 different numbers. So let's have a go at this. So 217 times by 10, nice and easy. We've got that there, okay? And now we've got 217 by 5. Now we might look at this and struggle a little bit and think, I don't know how to do this. Well, we know that 5 is half of 10. So our answer overall will be half of this. So all we've got to do is half this number. Now again, you might struggle with that. So just ignore the thousands and focus on that 170. Half that 170. Okay, so work that one out. Give you a bit of time. Okay, so that's 85, and then of course we've got to halve our thousands as well. So it's 1085, and then of course 217 times 1 is 217, and then like normal, add them together. So 5 add 7, we know is 12. So 1 in our tens, 2 in our units. 7 add 8 is 15. Add the 1 is 16. Add another 1 is 17. So you've got 1 in 100, 7 in our tens. Then we've got 200 and 100 is 300. Add that 1, that makes it 400. And then our thousands, 2 add 1 is 3. And there's our answer, 3,472. So what I want you to do now is have a go at these guys. You don't have to partition the numbers like they've done, so you don't need to do 13 2. You can do it as 20 10 and 2 if that makes it easier. Exactly the same for this one. You might want to do 25 and 1. It's entirely up to you how you do it. You can do all 6 if you want. I'd like you to try and break it down a little bit so it's 2 or 3 different numbers, maybe 4 maximum, okay, just to make it a little easy for you. Okay, give that a go and we'll go through the answers. Okay, then year 5, let's have a look at our answers. So here you can see on the left-hand side, I've partitioned it into 3 different numbers. I've done 263 times 10, times by 2, times by 20. So let's give this a go. So 236 times by 10, we know. We can just add the 0 on the end. So it's 2,630. And then we've got 263 times by 2. Now that might be a bit hard, but you can think just doubling. All you're doing is doubling. So we know double 200 is 400, double 60, that's 120, so we need to add that on, so it's 520. And then we've got the double of the 3, so it's 526. If you struggle with that year 5, you've just got to practice your doubling. That's all you've got to do. Is keep on practicing your doubling and your halvings at home. Now we've got 263 times by 20. So, well, we know what 263 times by 2 is. We've just got to add another 0 on. Okay? So we know that 263 times by 20 is therefore 5,260. And then add them all together. Units, nice and easy, 6. And then our tens, we've got 6, 2, and 3, so it's 8, add 1 more, 11. And then we've got 6, 5, and 2, so we know that's 11. 13, add the 1 at the bottom, that's 14. And then we've got 5,000, 2,000, 7,000, add that 1,000, and that's 8,000. And there's your final answer. Moving quickly on to the next one then. So we've got 520 times by 26. I've partitioned it on the left. I've broken it down to 26 into 3 different numbers, 25 and 1. And let's give this a go. So 520 times by 20. So we know times by 10 will be 5,200. But then we've just got to double it. It's 520 times by 20. So 5,200 times by 2, doubling it is 10,400. Okay, so just be careful with your columns on this one. Don't get everything too mixed up. 520 times by 10. Well, we've worked out 5,200. 520 times by 10 is 5,200. We're going to halve it because it's 5. So that's 2,600. And then finally, 520 times by 1. Nice nice and easy. And then add them all together. Units, nice and easy, 0, tens, 20, hundreds, we've got 6 and 4 is 10, add another 5, that's 15. So we'll put 1 in our thousands, 5 in our hundreds, and we've got 2,000, add that one, that's 3,000, and don't forget the tens of thousands column. 13,520, and that's your answers. Hopefully that's not too tricky for you guys. Just make sure you're focusing on your partitioning. Break it down into whatever you find easiest. Okay, if you can't do 3, you might want to break it down to 4, 5, or 6. Okay, I'd rather you try and break it down as much as you can, but just give it your best go. Okay, there are also extra links on the website which might help you with this to get you some extra practice if you need it. Also, focusing on doubling and halving numbers is a really good way of getting better at this method, so make sure you're practicing that at home as well. Okay, thank you very much, Year 5. Enjoy the rest of your day and enjoy your weekend.